Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Pleased to say today I'm joined by Rob from City Extra, and we're going to be talking about Everton's game against Manchester United tomorrow night at Goodison Park. Rob, first of all, thanks for joining me, mate. To kick us off, City are in a fantastic form at the moment. There's no way to lie about that. Top of the table at the moment, 7 points clear. What have you made of your season so far?
Oh, thank you for having me on, mate. It's pretty impressive. Like the run at the moment, 16 games unbeaten, 16-game winning run. It's pretty impressive. Like start of the year, it was very shaky. Like there were certain games we were just grinding out, like Wolves and Arsenal. But of late, we've just really kicked into gear, and it's not like we've had games where we've blown teams away, but it's not been like the Centurion season or anything like that. We've just been so professional in our performances and played some really good stuff along the way. But it's just been it's sort of unbelievable at the time because it didn't seem possible to start the season the way it was going. And obviously after the Spurs defeat back in November, you think now it's crazy, like the cushion we've got at the top of the table. But we are going into a horrible month or a horrible run of games, so we'll have to wait and see how we do starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I know as a City fan, you're never really confident, are you? Because of, like seasons in the past and stuff like that. And you can win as much as you like, but City fans are never confident. It's the common thing whenever you meet them. What have you made of Everton this season? Because I think we've picked up a little bit. Obviously, we had an awful result the other night against Fulham, but I think we're doing pretty well this season. What have you made of Everton?
Yeah, I would agree. At the back end of last season, it looked a bit. I don't know if Everton were just sort of like winding down in the season, but I was like, "Where's this going?" Like, I think you lost like Wolves away, or I can't remember, but it was just I wasn't sure what the plan was or where you were going with Everton. And then Ancelotti made those signings in the summer and started off so brilliantly. It's tailed off a bit recently, but I think maybe the Fulham game was a repercussion of what had happened in midweek with that extraordinary game against Tottenham. But now been really impressed, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's really impressed me. I've never been a massive fan of him, but I've had to eat my words on a lot of his performances because he's been excellent. But you've got a really, really good team. I really like Alan. I think Ben Godfrey's a great player. I think that's a great signing. I think Decore's been a good signing. You've got a solid side. Dino's been linked with us, and he looks like a real handy player. I think he's huge for how you want to play as well, like how creative he is, and his delivery is exceptional.
Yeah, and obviously, Carlo Ancelotti's confirmed that he's signing a new deal now. Luca Dean, which is amazing for us. Really good to keep him. Really good to be able to keep him at the club because he's arguably our best player at the moment. So
Really?
yeah. So watched a little bit of City the last few games. Been really impressed with them. There's a couple of players I've been particularly impressed with, like Gundogan, Foden as well. Seems to be turning it up, and really, Pep seems to have really put his trust in him now. Because I remember there was a couple of seasons ago where he was hyped up a lot, and he wasn't getting a lot of game time. Pep didn't seem to want to throw him in at the deep end. But who for you? You're an insider. Who's City's best player of the season so far?
Good question. It's got to be Gundogan. It's crazy. His run of form recently. He's become a goal scoring sensation. Something we knew he was good in the box. Like his late runs, Guardiola had always talked about it since he joined the club back in 2016. But it's only now when he's had a greater run in the side and more emphasis going forward that he's demonstrated that ability just to get in the right place at the right time. He's always in central areas in the box. He always seems to have like a yard of space in the box. It's like, how does he get it? Like whenever it's like packed or whatever. But he's been brilliant this year, and just how you think last year he was sort of babysitting Rodri for a lot of the season as he tried to integrate into the side. But now, as he's gone forward, he's demonstrated his brilliance in attack. And I think Foden would be up there. Like Foden's been brilliant. Like his finishing is so impressive. Like he's probably barring Gundogan's run of form recently, I would say he's naturally and instinctively our best goal scorer from midfield and from wide areas. I think he's a better finisher than Sterling, and I just think he has that knack for goals. But going back to what you were saying earlier about Foden, and I would agree, like throwing the deep end. But 2 years ago, we were, going up for 99, 98 points for Liverpool, and he was 18. It's like getting an 18-year-old in that side ahead of David Silva and Sterling and Sane and De Bruyne. You'd have to be like Messi to get inside, and even then, Pep probably would trust you. But now he's 20. He's getting more running games, sorry. But he's playing more out wide. He's not really trusting him centrally because he does lose the ball a lot. But that's because just of his aggressive nature. He takes a lot of risks. Now, when he's out wide, he has the liability to lose the ball, but you don't want to lose the ball in midfield. That's why he keeps Gundogan, Bernardo, and Rodri, because they rarely lose the ball. They always keep moving. But Foden's definitely been brilliant for us this year. And Diaz has been exceptional. Like, you think he was our third choice centre half, like in the transfer market after Koulibaly and Koundé at Sevilla. Like, why he wasn't number one, I don't know. Like, he's been absolutely outstanding for us this season, and that's reverberated throughout the side because Stones has gone into exceptional form. You know, slowly becoming what we all thought we'd be getting when we signed him off you back in the day. So I'd say Diaz and Gundogan, and then Phil Foden slowly behind. Yeah, just a bit behind. And Cancelo as well, you say.
A lot of standout players there, Diaz being one of them, but made up for Gundogan because I was a big fan of him at Dortmund. You know, I grew up watching that I think that Bayern Munich Dortmund Champions League final was like one of the first Champions League finals I was like really sat down and watched and enjoyed. And ever since then, I was like, oh, this Gundogan's a great player. And I love to see foreign players come into the league and do well and prove people wrong, because I think there's a bit of a stigma around foreign players that they're never worth the money, isn't there? But it's good to see Diaz and players like that and Gundogan and Rodri come into the team and playing well. Obviously, we've been drawn together in the FA Cup quarter-final at the end of March. You've obviously got a really big schedule coming up, Champions League and stuff like that. Do you think Pep is maybe less focused on the FA Cup, you know, to focus on the league?
I would say if this was 2 seasons ago with that title race with Liverpool, maybe. But Pep's he's just a serial winner and will take every competition seriously. I think we've got a cup final as well in the Carling Cup. But yeah, the FA Cup is by no mean feat. We're going to go for that, definitely. Now we're in the quarterfinals. Everton's a tough game, wherever, home or away. But we'll go for it, definitely. And we have the squad now, barring injury, touch wood. We should be in a good place, whatever the starting 11 is, to have a real good crack against Everton and hopefully try and progress through. Sorry to say.
Yeah, I hope not. We absolutely need to win that game. And I watched you against Swansea in the Cup and blew them away, and they seemed like they really wanted to play. And City have got a knack of being able to turn it on within about 10 minutes, got those sort of players. So I can see where you're coming from. And you know, the squad depth's there as well for City as well. 16 games, consecutive matches in all competitions that you've won. Quite a run. Undefeated in your last 23 games, I think, as well. So what do you make of the City team, and how does it rank in teams that have gone by in the years past? Because the 13-14 side that won the league, that was really good. Company and Aguero and, you know, players like that playing in that team, and Zabaleta as well. I remember I was always a massive Pablo Zabaleta fan growing up. But how does it rank along with that, you know, as you said, Centurions team and that? Because a few different players in the side now, and as you said, John Stones has come into a really good run of form. Our company's obviously gone as well. So how does this City team rank amongst the recent ones?
I think we have to wait till the end of the season to see what they achieve. Like, the gap at the top of the table is brilliant given the schedule we have upcoming. So we have a potential just to, you know, if we do up in any game, we do have a cushion. But we do have to see at the end of the year what if we win the title, if we win any other domestic trophies, and see how we do in the Champions League against Mönchengladbach and Touchwood going further on that. But they're not better than the Centurions. That was just outstanding. And in the domestic treble that we won in 2019, that was pretty special. That was a great side because I think it was because it was the freshness of it. It was the football we'd not seen before. You sort of become conditioned to how we play. And while there's intricate sort of amendments constantly with Guardiola, you sort of like that 2018 side was just so powerful and so quick with Sane and Sterling, just De Bruyne on another level. But we do have to see how they do at the end of the year. But what I would say about this side is why I think there's a different element to how fans see this team. And I was speaking to a friend of mine about this the other day. Is there's quite a few sort of underdogs and outcasts in the 11. It isn't like in the 2018 team where it was just brilliant throughout with David Silva, and then you had Company, and then Laporte came in, and and the like throughout the team signings nearly. Now it's players that have sort of like gone under the radar. You've seen with Gundogan recently, and you think Stones is now back in the team. Diaz has just recently come in, but it's a massive fan favourite already. You think Cancelo's finally found a bit of fun keeping Walker outside. And then Bernardo's obviously playing in central midfield, and he's a huge fan favourite. And then that sort of all topped off with Foden becoming more of a central figure in the side. So it's a different type of team. It's a massive fan favourite one. It's loads of underdogs. It's a lot of professionalism and hard work with that class. But we'll have to see how they do at the end of the year. But it's a great side. I enjoy watching this team to the nth degree, and there's not many players that you don't like in this squad. I think that's one of the great attributes of what Pep and the team have done throughout these years. You just love all the players because they're going to give 110%.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can definitely, that with City, similar to Everton, there's a sort of, if even if the abilities are not there, there's an attitude and a model that has to run within the side. And you do get the impression a lot of these players have the fighting spirit that a City player needs to have, because for me anyway, City players going back years they have to be a fan favourite at City. They have to begin with being able to fight for the team. They have to be able to, obviously having the ability as well, but as I mentioned, there's players like Zabaleta and Company and stuff like that. As soon as they broke into City's team, you knew they'd stay there because they have that fighting mentality. And a lot of players in this team have got that as well, but they don't lack quality either. Cancelo as well is coming good.
Yeah.
And I was expecting him to keep Walker out the team when you signed him, but it's good to see that he's finally, as same with Gundogan, coming in and staying there. Good to see John Stones making some progress as well. I remember he was my favourite Everton player when he
really?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved the guy. Just the swagger he had on the pitch, and the way he'd always play with the long sleeve shirt and the Adidas boots.
Yeah.
It reminds me of an old Everton centre back, but he wanted to play with the ball, and I think a lot of our fans didn't appreciate that. But I think he's a fantastic player, and it's good to see that he's finally coming good. Saying that though, any weak spots that you think City have got that you think you could improve, or Everton could definitely expose in the game tomorrow?
Interesting. There are weak spots, yeah. I'm hesitant to say, because with Dominic Calvert-Lewin being out, I think that's a huge miss for you, because it is that focal figure. And while I think our centre halves could deal with a dominant centre forward like that, he does have a lot of movement and he works really well with Richarlison. I don't know how you're going to work on the break. I don't know if I can't remember how you played against Fulham, if it was like a false nine or if it was like two split strikers.
Yeah, we used a false nine with Sigurdsson in that game. It did not. We used it at Wolves and won, and then we used it against Fulham the other night, and it just did not go as planned at all. But I'm expecting Josh King to come in, because obviously, as you said, Calvert-Lewin's out.
Yeah, Josh King. Yeah, because obviously I think Allen will be back as well, because he was on the bench against Fulham, wasn't he? I had a quick look. So it'd be Allen and then Decore, and if you go with Josh King, he's quite a tidy player, and Richarlison and James. Yeah, it's quite a strong front three to play on the break, which I'm assuming you'll play on the break. That's what I'm getting. So if I think James against Zinchenko, because I'm under the impression that Zinchenko will play tomorrow, and he's been in great form. It's always like, oh God, he can really get it, Zinchenko. I've been saying that since the Chelsea game, and he handled Ziyech, he handled Rashford in the cup, and he recently handled Salah, and it's just like, well, they're three of the best right wingers in the country. Like, you just got to trust him now, and I think he's pretty much set that spot as his own.
Yeah, another player who's come into grew a lot under Guardiola, hasn't he? Because a couple of seasons ago, I had no clue who he was coming to the team, and I was like, who's this lad wearing number 11 at left back? I was really confused by it, and did not know who he was. But last few games I've been watching for City, he seems to be a lot more solid, and I think James will play, I'm guessing, but yeah, I'm not sure where the weak spots are. We do like to play on the break. We like to play like an away team, even at Goodison.
Yeah.
So I think it will be, we're going to sit back and let City have the ball, which doesn't sound like a very good game plan when you say it like that, but that'll be it, mate. I think it will be like it'll be a counter-attacking job for Everton.
What I would say is, though, because it's counter-attacking is fine, because we want to be on the ball anyway. So, like, whether you try and press us or not, the intention every game is to stay on the ball and play through any press, or just get into the other half and then just play from there. I would say if Cancelo plays, which again I suspect will happen, I'd like to think the team that played against Spurs will play in prospect for the Champions League, because then the changes will be against Arsenal. And then, so the team that plays midweek with maybe a few changes will be the same team that played against Mönchengladbach. So if Cancelo plays, if he carries on his form of playing like an inverted number 10 from right back, which is just ridiculous, and Stones comes out, I think it depends on the break. If Richarlison can get into that space and can attack Stones, if Stones plays on the right side, or if Digne can make those overlapping runs he does from deep and can create from there, I think that would be the main area. Whether you can play through us is another element, because it depends how the midfield shapes up. But that's what I would say. That spacing behind Cancelo, we've done really well in handling it, because John Stones' positioning has been exceptional this season. He's handled Cancelo's space. And Cancelo's actually, his timing of when he goes and when he doesn't, and he stays in the right back slot, has only got better as games have gone on. I would say that because I think Digne and Richarlison, obviously James is a baller, but those two are probably your most aggressive and vertical players, especially on the break. And Digne's delivery, as I said earlier, that'll be a huge asset in trying to get up the pitch and trying to get set pieces, because Yerry Mina, and if it's Michael Keane or Ben Godfrey, whoever plays, I'm worried about set pieces, because his delivery, and Sigurdsson, if he plays, we've got some tall players, but we've always looked slightly vulnerable in set pieces, even though we've done quite well against them. And I think Yerry Mina, the ball just gravitates to him. He just wins everything. So I would say that left-hand channel, James wouldn't actually drift inwards, so you think Zinchenko might be able to mark him and he'd go into space. But Richarlison and Digne do stretch the pitch, and you can that would be where I would focus on trying to handle that. But I say that I'd probably play Walker, and then it'd be like, well, it's all right then, because he's speed of light. So
yeah, I think that's our main attacking threat is Luca Dean getting the ball from deep and putting it in the box. But obviously, there's no Calvert-Lewin for him to put it into. I think if Everton are going to beat City, which doesn't look too promising, with the form that City are in, but you never rule out Everton. There's always some sort of twist.
Not at all.
No, there's never just a simple 90 minutes with this club. It's strange. I think that is going to be where we're going to be able to expose them, as maybe behind Stones, because I know better than anyone what John Stones' weaknesses are. But I think that's going to be where we're going to be able to hurt. Yeah. Any Everton players who you think would make it into City's team, or if not, just who your favourite Everton player is?
Oh, good question. It's difficult to look past James, because he's next level. He's such a silky footballer. If he could work in our system, I don't know, because it takes a lot of running, and I feel like he's sort of given sort of free reign, because he's so good, and everyone sort of works around him, and he have runners off him. But I'm a massive fan of Ben Godfrey. I think he's really good. Every time,
honestly, mate, every single person I ask says that. Ben Godfrey,
it's so good. I was like, I remember he came on, didn't he? He came on and played like left back in his debut or something. It's like
against Liverpool, came on in the derby.
Why have you started? He's amazing. Like, get him on the pitch. I'm not a huge fan of Michael Keane as well, so I'm like, why are you not playing him over him? It's just like, get him on the pitch. He's a beast. He's a really good player. I love Allen as well. I think he's great, and I think Decore was a really good savvy bit of business. But he's not. He doesn't defend great. He's just all over the pitch. But I like that. I just think he's a bit of a maverick in the middle of the park. He just does everything. But yeah, Ben Godfrey for me. And I can leave a word on Calvert-Lewin. The guy's done so impressive this year.
Mm-hmm.
So fair play to him.
Yeah, to be honest, I think if Alan would do a good job in City's team. He's a lot like Fernandinho when he first signed under Pellegrini. For me, reminds me a lot. of him when he used to play in midfield, and obviously Pep's moved him into defence, hasn't he? So yeah, I think there's a couple of Everton players that stand out this season, and that's what's exciting for us. And finally,
how about for you as well? Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, mate.
How
go
about
on.
for you? No, sorry to interrupt. What about City players going to Everton?
Oh, there's quite a few to be fair. I'd love Edison. I think Edison would be great in our team as a goalkeeper for how we want to play. I like Bernardo Silva. I love Bernardo Silva. I think he's a cracking little player. Yeah.
Great player.
Yeah, I like
Kevin.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. I'd take Kevin De Bruyne in the team any day. It's the obvious ones, mate. I'm trying to think of players that might, go. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of players. There's world class players in City's team, and there's a few that could definitely help us. But I think, we badly need a goalkeeper, so Edison's my one. I said this when we previewed Leeds as well. That I'd take Meslier over Pickford.
Yeah, what's happened with Pickford as well? Is he just injured, or is he?
Apparently he's got a rib injury, but he's had a rib injury for the past month now. So Olsen's been playing, and I expect him to play again tomorrow night. And I'm hoping he plays in the derby because he does make mistakes, but for me, he's better than Pickford.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just too many mistakes in him, mate. It's like, I don't know. I can't really compare him to anyone. It's just too many mistakes, and especially against Liverpool, he seems to have a knack of making mistakes against them. So,
yeah.
It's a bit of a bit too full on for me. I prefer Olsen a pair of safe hands personally.
You need to be calm in that position, don't you?
You do. There was the one where he threw it to Origi a couple of years ago, and then there was also the scissor tackle on Van Dijk earlier this season. So he just seems to love trying to grab headlines when we play Liverpool. So I'm hoping Olsen plays in as well. He'd probably get loads.
He did it Sunderland though, didn't he?
Yeah,
when they played Newcastle, it was just he was trying to.
Yeah, he did it. He did it for us against Newcastle when he first signed. I remember.
That maybe I'm getting mixed up with that game. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just what are you doing?
Yeah, there was a game against Sunderland where we were 2-0 up, and at 2-0 he went and ran over to the away fans and was celebrating in front of them. And then we drew two. He scored 2 goals in the 95th minute, and we drew 2-2. So yeah, honestly, he's like.
He reminds me of early Chesney. That's what he reminds me of. You know, when Chesney used to make all the mistakes.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of that. I remember there was one game. I think it was the start of the season. I always remember it because of Gary Neville's commentary. And I think they were playing Birmingham or something. I don't know why I remember this. I just think it sort of exemplified the problem with goalkeepers that sort of want to get a bit above the station. And he was trying to shout at all the defenders where to be. And then Gary Neville was like, "You shouldn't be doing that. You just get on your line. The defenders will sort out how the it was like to."
Was it the League Cup final?
No, it wasn't that game. I think it was just the start of the league, the league season. But I just always remember that because I didn't mind Chesney. I thought he was all right keeper. But
he seems to be doing well for Juve, doesn't he, nowadays? So.
Yeah, he's been one of the best keepers in Serie A for years now. Yeah. But Pickford is a similar one where it's just go back to the basics, as Delph famously said for City.
That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
If he's going to resurrect his Everton career, he's going to have to go back to the basics and start making saves. Otherwise, we're going to need a new one. But Edison's one I'd love. I think he's been playing well, even though he is prone to the odd mistake. But what he offers to the team, in my opinion, it makes up for that. Yeah, 100%.
It's because we're so high risk. It's like, as you've seen with Alisson recently, if it goes wrong, it can go wrong. But Edison, he's so calm. He gets almost bored at times. So that's when he does something ridiculous and comes out of his box for no reason. Yeah. But he's so calm under pressure, and he just always makes massive saves. And he's so good on the ball. And you sort of get you feel like you're gonna have a heart attack when you watch him, because you just the player's too close to him, but he just never looks phased. And he's so calm under pressure. And that's sort of again, like Diaz's influence, it just goes throughout the side because you can trust him whenever you want to give him the ball.
I love Jesus as well. I love the fact that whenever Aguero doesn't play, Jesus comes in and seems to score goals. And
most City fans wouldn't agree.
No, they wouldn't. No, but that's the thing, mate. It's from the you were surprised then when I said Olsen was better than Pickford. It's true. It's always different. But whenever I watch Jesus. He seems to play well, and I think he's someone who could help Everton if we would ever in for him, if City would ever let him go, because I think we could, similar, us signing Josh King. I think we needed a player like that, and
Yeah, definitely. That's a good sign.
yeah, not as good as Jesus, but I do like him as a player as well. But yeah, last question I'm gonna leave you with, mate, is I always ask it like a random question to the opposition players. I asked Jay from Stretford Paddock what his favourite chocolate bar was.
What, Jay Moffat?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask you your strangest / worst / best meeting with a celebrity or footballer. It's a tough one because for me, I'd hate someone to ask me this question because I don't have any. I feel like I never meet anyone.
I don't think I have any, actually.
I think the only time I've met any Everton players was I was mascot at an Anfield derby when I was about 11. So I met all the players then. I've met them in like club shop signings and stuff, but I never seem to meet anyone like that.
No, I'm the same. I can't remember. I've got a weird one. When I went to the Euros in 2008 and I saw Berami in the in the shopping mall. That's one off the top of my head, but I never met him. I didn't go and speak to him, but it was one where I was on the escalator. I was like, "Is that Berami?" Because he has such a distinct hairstyle.
Yeah.
But no, I can't remember. I've not seen any players around Manchester or anything like that. I'm sorry to be disappointed. I've not even seen Foden around Stockport, which is a bit of a shame. I'm hoping to.
Is that where you're based, Stockport?
Yeah. So I live in Stockport, and I live just next to Edgeley, which is obviously where he hangs about. All his mates are from there. So, but I've never. My cousins bumped into him once, bumped into Foden, and that was when he was starting to get into the side. But I've never. I can't think of any celebrity ones. Sorry to.
No, it's a tough question, isn't it? I can't believe they've given me that one because it's a tough one. With regards to Everton players, my granddad used to live over the road from John Joe Kenny. Who's who's just left for Celtic. Yeah, he used to live my granddad's a gardener. I think he used to do his mum's garden or something. But I remember him coming out once. I remember him coming out the door, and it was like my granddad lives in like a little cul-de-sac, like a little estate, and it was weird seeing this Premier League footballer coming out of this tiny little house. It was really weird. That's a weird one. But yeah, it's a really tough one, isn't it? I never seem to meet any. I feel like you would in Manchester or somewhere like that, but
I don't go to those clubs with team like that. Those places.
No, yeah. Seems to be a lot of City fans in Stockport as well, doesn't it? Is that like a city, like a little city hotspot? Because there's obviously Foden grew up there, didn't he? And Blossoms, the band, they come from Stockport as well. And there's a couple of City fans in there.
Yeah, Tom Ogden went to my school, so.
Oh really? Yeah. Tom Ogden, yeah.
Yeah, great band. Yeah, it's quite a big city base. United fans always will bring it up. I think United fans, unfortunately, but I think in Greater Manchester, just there's a lot of City fans everywhere. To be fair, you wouldn't know it given how it's all portrayed. But Stockport is quite a big city base. To be fair,
is it a bit like Liverpool, where there's a lot more Evertonians than the other side let on?
Definitely. That's what I'll say. Definitely.
I know how you feel, mate. Don't worry about it. But
that's why I've got a lot of time for Everton. So
same with City, and that kit you've got on there is absolute to belt of that one. I remember you wore that. Was it the cup?
Just a recent purchase, this one.
Yeah, I think you wore it in the cup last season. It's a cracking kit. I love them.
Oh no, this is the old school one. This is the Colin Bell one.
The actual proper old school one, yeah.
Yeah, that was the 125 years one. I've wanted to get that for so long because it was seeing David Silver in that just starts the dream. But that was a great shout. Once was it in the Community Shield we wore it?
I think it was. Yeah, I just remember you wearing it. Yeah. We'll leave it there, mate. Thanks for coming on and joining me. It was a really good one. All the best for the game tomorrow. All the best for the game.
Yeah, you too.
Tomorrow, even though. We could absolutely do a beating City.
Just rest them all for Liverpool, please.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me now, I'd 100% take a win at Anfield. But yeah, it's being an Everton fan, you feel like you got to pick and choose where you want to win. Just what I mean. So, but yeah, thanks for joining me, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Obviously, make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Go check out City Extra as well. They're massive. So if you haven't heard of them, go and check them out. They're really good. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.